Hey everyone! Hey everyone, welcome to Jason Explains Things. In a few short weeks, I am taking my third gen Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road on a 750-mile-long adventure along the Oregon backcountry discovery route. This is the longest off-grid journey I have ever attempted with my truck, and I want to make sure that it does well. So I have 3 projects to do before I leave. Number 1, a rear shock upgrade plus bed stiffeners. Number 2, a full 12-volt accessory wiring overhaul plus adding some new outlets in the bed. And number 3, reworking my bed rack and soft topper setup plus adding a rooftop tent. We're tackling the first of these projects today, upgrading those rear shocks and adding bed stiffeners. Now these are modifications that you can do with very basic tools, some power tools, a jack, and jack stands. Check the description for all parts, tools, and supplies listed and linked for you for your convenience. I'll also have some helpful reference documents down there too. FYI, none of the stuff you see me using or installing in this video is sponsored. I paid full price for everything. So at the end of the video, if you feel helped or entertained by it, please support my work by giving this video a like, commenting, subscribing, turning on notifications, or using those links in the description that do financially help me at no extra cost to you. Let's get to work. Why am I doing the upgrades of the rear shocks and bed stiffeners? Well, let's start by first talking about the shocks. Now, last year I published an intensive full suspension upgrade guide and review. This whole setup in the front and rear has performed perfectly for me, including a lot of traveling on the highway, but also doing a 600-mile-long Washington BDR adventure. In short, the Bilstein 5100 that I have here still installed and the 5160 are virtually identical in several ways. Both have 46mm shock bodies, are zinc plated to prevent corrosion, and have improved wheel travel over stock. The 5100 is designed for a lift up to 1 inch above stock, and for the 5160 that is 1.5 inches. And while the Tacoma owner would usually install one of these 2 shocks while doing a lift at the same time, you don't have to if you don't want to. If you just want better dampeners than those kind of underdamped stock ones that frankly make your truck a little bit too floaty and a little bit too bouncy, in my opinion, this is a great upgrade even if you don't want to lift your truck and modify it and do a bunch of crazy stuff like me. We've talked about what's the same, so let's talk about what's different, starting with price, which is obviously very important. I would say the Bilstein 5100 is probably the best value you can find in a rear shock or a front shock for that matter. These are incredibly affordable for as good of a shock as they are. I checked prices, and here in July 2025, this is going for about $112 per shock. This costs more than those 2 combined. This one, the MSRP for the 5160 is currently around $275 per shock. But I'll also say that you can often find these on sale at Amazon and other places and spend quite a bit less than that. But the main difference between these 2 is pretty obvious. The 5160 has a nice large remote reservoir that the 5100 does not have. This adds a ton of oil capacity to your shock, which lends itself to running cooler for longer periods of time during heavy use. The 5160 also adds slightly better wheel travel performance over the 5100, compressing 1/5 of an inch shorter and extending 7/10 of an inch longer. All that being said, do you need a 5160 over a 5100? If you're on a strict budget, my answer to that question is no. There are other places that you can spend your money that you can notice performance gains more. For instance, the 2 that I would recommend, progressive bump stops and adding either an add-a-leaf or a higher capacity leaf spring over a lift block. Those are places you're gonna notice your money very, very clearly all the time, every day. Where shocks with remote reservoirs shine is actually kind of what I'm about to go do, where you're doing long drives in strenuous conditions, either off-road or on uneven terrain. The Oregon BDR, especially in the beginning, is hundreds of miles of washboard gravel roads. That's where the 5100 would likely start to struggle, and where this is going to stay cooler and have better performance for a much longer period of time. Editor Jason here. Even before going on some sort of grand adventure, the 5160 is a noticeable improvement, even more than I was expecting. The near 1 inch of more wheel travel is pretty incredible, and you'll see my surprise in that when I'm putting my wheels back on. Moving on to the Westcott Designs bed stiffener. So I'm gonna go over some of the design features of these particular ones over some others and why I chose them during the installation process. But first off, why does a Tacoma need bed stiffeners? Now, in general, what they're for is to prevent either flex or damage of your truck bed when you are carrying heavy loads on your bed rails or inside the bed itself on challenging terrain. All second, third, and fourth gen Tacomas come with composite plastic truck beds. Now, in a lot of ways, this is a good thing. You don't have to worry about rust. You don't have to do a sprayed bed liner if you don't want to. But some of those issues that I talked about earlier that bed stiffeners prevent are very common, unfortunately, with these composite truck beds. They can and do crack. But for most people, most owners, I'm not trying to fearmonger you at all. It's probably not an issue unless you're doing all of those things. You're having heavy weight, you're carrying constant loads, you're doing a lot of off-roading. That's when I would worry about this. Now for me, I wasn't really worried about it until only recently because all I had up until around last December was a soft topper. That weighs virtually nothing. But as I've added the bed rack, as I'm gonna add more constant weight to my truck, it's slowly becoming a more potential issue for me. But honestly, bed stiffeners are more of a future-proofing measure for me because hopefully sometime next year, I hope to either add a seal topper to my truck or a wedge camper. And at that point, I would say bed stiffeners are not a nice to have, they are a requirement. But with the 750-mile long trip that I have coming up, that's a perfect excuse to just install these right now. All right, let's install those brand new Bilstein 5160s. I just did the driver's side, so I'll look all smooth and cool while I do the passenger side. Besides this video being helpful for you, I'll also link to this PDF from Bilstein. It's actually very, very good written instructions. Gives you all the torque specs, reference photos, an illustration of exactly how the bushings and washers line up on the top of the shock. Very, very helpful stuff. Quick note on part numbers for you guys. I'm going to be installing the latest version of the 5160 for the Tacoma, and the part number for that is 25311-259. If you're installing the same part as me, the driver's side and passenger side are interchangeable, so you just need two of the same part. There is an older version of the 5160 that is different on the passenger and driver's side, and they have different part numbers. And one side includes a bracket for your brake lines that apparently is no longer needed for the latest version of this part. And like I said at the beginning, for your convenience, I'm going to be linking to this exact part down in the description. And this is what you want to install on any Tacoma from 2005 till 2023 before the 4th gen came out. So there you go. Remove your spare tire. This will make mounting the remote reservoir to the frame easier later on. Lift the rear of the truck. Support the frame on jack stands high enough to allow the rear axle to droop with the wheels off the ground. You can either support the frame from in front of the rear axle like you see here, or if you have stands tall enough, support the frame in the rear. Both work, but I feel that supporting the frame all the way in the rear is more secure and safer. Remove the wheels. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're curious why my drums look so good, it's because I did a whole repaint of them using a high heat paint, and I'll have a link to that down in the description. I like to always put my wheels underneath the frame of the vehicle just as a last-ditch safety effort should I have catastrophic problems. Disconnect the bracket for the parking brake cable with a 12mm wrench or socket. Remove the shock lower mounting bolt nut and washer. Lift the axle on the side you're working on slightly and remove the bolt. Next, remove the top nut from the shock. You'll need either an adjustable wrench or Allen wrench to keep the shock body from spinning as you loosen the nut. Remove the old top bushing and washer. Lower the axle slightly on the side you're working on and remove the old shock. Take note on how the lower bushing and washers are situated so you know how to put them back together, or refer to the illustration in Bilstein's instructions. Hey, and if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe and let me know down in the comments what your current truck project is. Hey, and I also want to say thank you to my channel members whose names are on the screen now. And yes, there are only 3 of them. If you want to get fun perks like seeing my videos early before they're available to the entire public, you can become a member too. All right. Make sure all mounting surfaces are clean. Install the new lower washer, lower bushing, and support washer onto the stem. Slip the 5160 into place. Install the lower bolt, washer, and nut. Using a floor jack to raise the axle can make lining things up easier. For now, only hand tighten. Save torquing this down until the truck is under its own weight. Install the upper bushing, upper washer, and lock nut loosely. Rotate the shock body so the hose bung is facing outward, perpendicular to the vehicle frame. Now tighten the lock nut. Hold the shock body while tightening to prevent it from rotating out of alignment. Torque to 15 foot-pounds. If you don't have a crow's foot attachment for your torque wrench, a good general rule is to tighten the lock nut till the bushing mushrooms slightly, filling the circumference of the washer. Time to mount the remote reservoir to the frame of the vehicle. On the passenger side, which is the side I'm filming, it's going to be in front of the shock towards the front of the vehicle. On the driver's side, you're going to use a mounting hole on the rear, and I'll have a close-up of that so you can see that process. So as you can see here, we have this hole in the frame right there. That is where we're going to be installing our billet aluminum bracket. Just gonna go on here just like this. I actually earlier noticed that the fender flare was actually going to be hitting and rubbing on this, so I just used a pair of scissors and trimmed it really quickly. We have some very specific instructions with how we want to mount our reservoir. Where it's gonna go into the hole, you want that facing down so that the place where you're gonna put your tightening screw, which is included, is on the bottom where you can easily reach it. And you want to line up the hose bung on the front here with kind of right in between the S and the T. Now earlier, the instructions on here say to go ahead and tighten this up now, but I would recommend not tightening it up. All I'm going to do is just loosely put the tightening screw in here, but I'm not going to tighten it down at all until later. Use thread locker and the included bolts, lock washers, and backing plate to mount the reservoir bracket to the frame. Torque the bolts to 20 foot-pounds. Now let's finalize the placement of the reservoir inside the bracket. You want 115 millimeters or 4.5 inches between the bracket and the hose bung. I found it easier to finalize this placement with the bracket on the frame. Tighten the reservoir bracket pinch bolt to 6 foot-pounds. Reinstall the parking brake cable bracket. Reinstall your wheels, lower the truck onto the ground, torque the lug nuts to 83 foot-pounds, and lastly, torque that bottom shock bolt to 72 foot-pounds. And your new shocks are installed. All right, with those shocks done, it's time to move on to the Westcott Designs bed stiffeners. Now, there are a lot of good options out there for third-gen Tacomas for bed stiffeners. I like these. There are several that are made in the USA. Nicely designed, nicely welded, powder-coated. I would definitely pick something like that, even if you don't go with these exact ones. Why I chose these? Aesthetically, I think they look really good. I really like this bracing right here that is also made so that you can use it to tie down equipment, and I really like that. I also like how now some stiffeners go all the way out to the edge here. That takes up a lot of space that I don't want to take up for, you know, if I'm trying to put large objects in the bed of my truck. I don't want to have the stiffeners get in the way. Also, these are designed to work in conjunction with my OEM bed mat, and I really like that. So, what do you say? Let's put these in. The taillight will need to be out of the way for part of the installation. Remove the 10mm bolts that hold it in place. Carefully pull to the side and either remove the light entirely or let it hang carefully by the wires. I used a microfiber towel to make sure it didn't scratch the paint. Oh, and does anybody know what this writing means on my taillight? Is this some sort of special message? I'm not sure.
T40, T55.
Now clean the area, set the bed stiffener in place, and loosely secure it with those stock bolts. You need the stiffener in place to mark the 3 holes you're gonna drill. Mark the 3 holes using the bed stiffener as your guide and then remove it. Use a punch to prevent your drill from slipping. Drill the 3 holes with a 3/8 drill bit. For a couple of the holes, I needed some more wiggle room, so I widened the hole to 1/2 inch with a step bit. This part of the bed we're drilling is metal, so it's a good idea to deburr your holes and touch up the bare metal with an automotive grade paint. Loosely secure all the hardware, accessing the back side of the bed through the taillight space. Now tighten all the hardware, starting at the top and moving your way down. The supplied hardware gets torqued to 18 foot-pounds, the T40 bolt gets torqued to 50 foot-pounds, and the big T55 bed bolt gets torqued to 60 foot-pounds. Reinstall your taillight, and we're done. Now, I didn't have to do this, but I decided to notch my OEM bed mat to prevent it from sticking up above the large silver bed bolt. Results look pretty good. Leave a comment and let me know what you think of today's 2 upgrades. Also, we have those 2 other Tacoma projects leading up to the Oregon BDR, so subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. And stay tuned for the off-road adventure coming probably later this fall. So until next time, everyone, God bless all of you. Don't forget to do it yourself.